Okay, we are back. I'm very happy to have on the Goldstein on Gelt show Mary Beth Franklin. She's a contributing editor at Investment News, and she wrote a fascinating book, in fact, for professionals called Maximizing Your Client's Social Security Retirement Benefits. Now, I've learned a lot from Mary Beth because as an investment advisor myself, helping clients with their financial planning understand their Social Security is critical, and she's really out there teaching professionals, but she's able to teach things in such a clear language. I thought it was a great idea to have her on the show. Mary Beth, real pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Doug. I really appreciate this opportunity.
So let's start where you can really just talk to the clients instead of talking through me to the clients, but what would be the first thing that you would tell people to do before claiming their Social Security benefits?
Know your options. People don't realize that Social Security benefits can represent the largest chunk of retirement income they're going to see in their lifetime when you think of the fact that it's a monthly benefit that you get every month for the rest of your life, that's cost of living adjusted, and that provides a benefit for your surviving spouse. It's a really sweet deal.
When you say cost of living adjusted, a lot of times we see clients who say, yeah, my expenses seem to be going up, but my Social Security doesn't seem to be going up commensurately. How do they calculate that?
It's a fairly complicated formula. They take the cost of living, the CPI of 1 August over the previous August, and as a result, these year-end jumps can be significant. There were several years ago where the cost of living adjustment was 5.8% for Social Security benefits, which was totally out of whack with the economy because there happened to be a spike in gas prices at that time that year. But as a result, the following 2 years, there were no cost of living adjustments, which was the first time since Congress had put in automatic COLAs, because it took so much to get over that hump of that initial 5.8%. Now, the last couple of years, we're seeing 1.7. It's forecast for 2015, it's going to be 1.5%.
Okay, so people can count on a fair move of their Social Security, a fair increase based on what their cost of living will be?
Generally. What also happens, though, is that when you get a Social Security check, if you're also covered by Medicare and you have to pay the Medicare premium, that is deducted from your Social Security check. So your net check may not look much bigger.
People who live outside of the United States, which is a lot of our listeners, are they required to pay Medicare?
No, if they're not covered by Medicare, they don't have to pay for it. But if they later go back and live in the U.S., they may be affected by a delayed enrollment penalty.
Let's talk about spousal benefits a little more, because I think it's an area that a lot of people are unclear on. Can you first of all tell us the general rule about spousal benefits and maybe give us a strategy?
Certainly. First of all, a worker needs to have paid payroll taxes for long enough to actually qualify for Social Security benefits. The rule of thumb is 10 years of work or what's called 40 years of Social Security credits to be eligible. But the amount of money you get, the benefit you get, is based on your 35 highest years of earnings indexed for inflation. Now, if you are married to a worker who is entitled to a Social Security benefit, just by the fact that you were married for at least a year, you are entitled to a spousal benefit, which is worth up to half of what the worker gets if you, the spouse, collects it at your full retirement age. Full retirement age right now is 66, and that applies to anyone who is born from 1943 through 1954. Full retirement age is higher for people born after that.
Just to clarify, you said you have to be married for 1 year, and if you're married to someone for a year, let's say he works, and then you get divorced when you were...
No, that's a different situation. That's divorce. We're talking a spousal benefit if you're currently married.
Got it. Okay, so let's keep going on that track. I'm sorry.
Now, people who were married for at least 10 years and subsequently divorced, if they are currently unmarried, they can collect a spousal benefit just as if they're still married. Now, anyone can collect a Social Security benefit as early as age 62, but that benefit's going to be permanently reduced by 25% or more for the rest of your life. So a great strategy for a married couple, it really depends on how big of a benefit each spouse will get. And I tend to divide married couples into three profiles. I'll call it Ozzie and Harriet, where you've got one breadwinner and maybe a stay-at-home spouse. And then you may have a dual income couple where they both have benefits, but they may be different because of their lifetime earnings. And then the third profile is the power couple, the ones where both spouses had substantial earnings throughout their career. And I'll give you a strategy for each one. Shall I go ahead?
Yeah, let's hear about that. We're talking with Mary Beth Franklin, who is an expert on Social Security and the author of the book Maximizing Your Client's Social Security Retirement Benefits. Mary Beth has been talking to us about some of the background and the details of Social Security, and we've kind of launched into a discussion now of what it means to get spousal Social Security, which a lot of people simply feel, well, if I'm married and let's say my husband gets a Social Security payment, I can get half of whatever he's earning, but it turns out it's a little bit more complicated than that. Go ahead, Mary Beth. Tell us about the different couples.
The first goal for most married couples should be one, that you make your decision as an economic unit. It's not two separate decisions. It's what decisions are going to benefit my household in the long run. And the second most important goal for married couples is, how do I maximize the survivor benefit for the spouse that's left behind after the first one dies? So here we use the example of Ozzie and Harriet. Husband's worked all his life. The wife has stayed home and raised kids. She has no Social Security benefit on her own, but she will get a spousal benefit. In this case, the best strategy is for the husband to use a strategy called file and suspend. When he is his full retirement age of 66, he can say to the Social Security Administration, I want to file and suspend. That means it triggers a spousal benefit for my wife, but my own benefit is suspended and will grow by the rate of 8% per year between my full retirement age of 66 and age 70. At 70, when I collect a benefit, it's going to be worth 132% of what my full retirement age benefit is. So in this case,
does that assume that he's still working and paying in, or if he is just not?
No, that is just based. The assumption is at 66 he can stop working it if he wants, but he's going to delay collecting that benefit until age 70. He could even keep working if he wants, because the penalty called the earnings cap that takes back some benefits if you collect Social Security and keep working before your full retirement age, that earnings cap disappears at 66. So let's say at 66 he's entitled to a Social Security benefit of $2,000 a month. Whether he's working or not, he decides to file and suspend. His wife can get half of that benefit, $1,000 a month, but he's going to let his keep growing. And at age 70, his benefit's going to be worth 32% more. That's $2,640 a month for the rest of his life, increased each year by cost of living adjustment. If he dies at some point before his wife, her smaller benefit's going to go away, and she's going to basically inherit this survivor benefit that's worth 100% of what he got during his lifetime. That's why this file and suspend strategy is so important. It maximizes his retirement benefit during his lifetime and the survivor benefit he leaves behind for her.
If someone's married to a non-American, does the foreign spouse get spousal Social Security?
The spouse is also entitled to Social Security benefit as the wife or husband of the worker.
At the same level, there are no conditions?
There's no reduction for being a foreign-born spouse.
Okay, let's go on with what you were saying. You told us about Ozzie and Harriet.
Okay, the second profile would be the dual income couple, which is more typical for an American couple these days where both work. But let's say the husband in this case has a much higher benefit than the wife. A lot of research says, you know what, when we're looking at this couple as an economic unit, it may make sense for the lower earning spouse, the wife in this case, go ahead, collect her reduced benefits early at 62. It brings some money into the household. Now, that assumes she's no longer working, because otherwise she's going to lose benefits to the earnings test. So if she collects her reduced benefits early, and the husband, when he reaches his full retirement age of 66, can use a different strategy. At 66, he can say to the Social Security Administration, I want to file a restricted claim for spousal benefit only. That says to Social Security, hey, my wife's already collecting her benefit. Give me half of her full retirement age benefit. Don't give me mine. Let mine keep growing by 8% a year up until age 70 when I'll switch to my own. Again, accomplishes the goal of bringing some money into the household now, and when he turns 70, he's going to collect his maximum benefit, and if he dies first, the wife's smaller benefit's going to go away, and she's going to inherit that maximum survivor benefit.
Is that only if he's begun, let's say he dies at 69 and never started the claim?
The survivor benefit is going to be based on what he was either claiming to or entitled to claim at time of death. So in that case, if he died at 69 before collecting, he would have gotten delayed retirement credits worth 24% on top of his full retirement age benefit. That's what she would have gotten.
Okay. And in the last 45 seconds or so, tell us about the third spouse.
The power couple. They both have major earnings, and let's say they're both 66 years old. They can use a combo strategy. At 66, the husband files and suspends. He gets nothing for 4 years, but it triggers a spousal benefit for his wife. The wife said, whoa, I'm also 66. Don't pay me my benefit. Just give me the spousal benefit. I want to restrict the claim to spousal benefits only. And when they both turn 70, they both collect their maximum benefit, each worth 132% of their full retirement age benefit.
Okay. That is a great strategy. In fact, all of these are great strategies. But I think that what listeners should be taking away from this, and what I'm certainly taking away from this, is that every couple has their own situation, and each case has to be carefully examined in order to maximize the very, very important benefit, which is Social Security. And of course, we didn't even get to ask you the question, which is, do you think Social Security will continue to be there over the years? But Mary Beth, we're going to have to save that to the next time we have you on the show. We've been talking to Mary Beth Franklin. In the last few seconds, just tell us, how can people follow your work?
You can go to investmentnews.com. Although it's designed for financial advisors, you can log on or just Google my name, Mary Beth Franklin. And if you want to learn more about these strategies, you can buy a copy of my book at investmentnews.com/MBF ebook. It's actually just a PDF you can download, print out, jam-packed with information.
It is indeed, and we will put a link to that at the show notes of GoldsteinOnGelt.com. Mary Beth Franklin, thanks so much for your time.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world, but if you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt Show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.